our next story is sort of a coming of age, coming to an understanding story where masks slip and facades are dropped. So I'm going to invite our next author to the stage and provide you with his bio. Robert Mayette is a writer, actor working in Connecticut, equally devoted to the page and the stage. He writes literary and speculative fiction and holds an MA in English literature with a focus on medieval and early American writing. His work has appeared in 34 Orchard and America Menses Calliope, as well as in anthologies My Peculiar Family and Ink Stains. His most recent theater work was last week, playing the ghost of Benedict Arnold at Keeler Tavern Museum's Ghost of Ridgefield. Yeah, he's a traitor, but it's complicated. Rob wants to see all the beauty that there is in the world, but he'll content himself with beholding what he can. And I will put his website in the comment box. Rob, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to the reading tonight. The story that I'm going to be reading from features the caladrius, which is a mythological bird that was common in medieval bestiaries. And its trait was it could heal any illness with a glance. But the thing is that its glance was its own. It always decided where its own eyes went. So I do a lot of work in theater, running a program called Fairy Tale Theater here in Connecticut. So my mind went to the deep past for this one. I'm going to start in the middle. So I'm going to give you a little bit of lead up. So before this in the story, the point of view character, Louis Pendergast, is living with his father, Albert, who's a research scientist. He is a disgraced research scientist because him and his colleague had published a big finding that ended up being bunk science. A few years later, his father, who's named Albert, told him that it was his colleague, who Louis knows affectionately as Uncle Jim, who had doctored the experiment and was responsible for both of them being disgraced. And while his dad eked out a diminished existence at university, Uncle Jim went to go find himself and resurface many years later as the owner of an animal theme park called Birds of Paradise. And there's been many newspaper articles written about Uncle Jim and this secret healing bird that he has at his park. Louis is increasingly worried because his father has been declining rapidly from dementia. He does not trust Uncle Jim at all for obvious reasons, but he has some choices needing to be made if there's a chance to help his dad. And I'm going to jump in the middle there. I'm on page 256 in the book. Decline is the worst lie of dementia. It summons the notion of a gradual slope, like those signs on some country roads at the start of a fresh downhill that proclaim 8%, your experience will be a steady 8%. At worst, it conjures a double diamond with some moguls. But Albert Pendergast's decline was so fast, I didn't even have time to make him the necessary appointments. Who do you call when you're thinking primary, specialist, hospice, and a tangled knot of wishes, whims, worries, what the hells? I didn't know whom to call until I thought a call wouldn't suffice anymore anyway, nor whom to visit, whom to pray to. Whom to write in a piece of beautiful filigreed stationery from the father's desk, 2 silver Canadian geese hovering over a green-clad world, a Christmas gift he never opened. Dear friends of my father, I started. Something grandiose, like how you invite a bunch of people you want to murder elaborately to a country estate that's prone to having its bridge washed out. I thought about reworking that, but no, they're all shits. And my father's friends should know that they're shits. They should open the letter, and the first thing they think should be, oh, I'm a friend of his father's, but I've been a total shit to him. Maybe I should rethink my life. Perhaps be less of a total shit. What would an anti-total shit version of me look like? I shall ponder this and make the necessary changes to my total shit self. And then I told them of how Albert Pendergast always talked about them, always thought the very world of them. But he is in quick decline now and would like to see them again, perhaps a last time. I, his bumbling son, only have their written addresses, if you'll excuse the limited form. But here is my email address if you might do me the favor of a reply. But here is where the illusion could fail. I only had Uncle Jim's newest address, this Birds of Paradise theme park, revealed by some quick Googling. He'd long since left no forwarding address when I tried to reach out to him the holidays after he was banished from the scientific world. So there was no way I could persist the illusion of just an ex-colleague's dutiful son sifting through old papers if you put it together. Fortunately, according to the fringe media, he sounded still too into himself to notice. "Bird Park Heals Woman," read one of the headlines that came up on my screen. She went to the park, went into a hidden area, some cavern of lost trepidations, it was called, and emerged free from cancer and forbidden to speak of the means. How a hidden area can have a name of any kind, especially one like that, is far beyond my comprehension. But some were speaking, those who were not healed. "Lies," shouted one near-toothless woman. "I went into this room and this bird ignored me, and I didn't get any better. A total scam." "Did anyone demand money from her?" the reporter pressed. "Was she scammed out of anything financial?" "My pride. You think my pride is worthless?" But apart from complaints of the high cost of tickets, the same that everyone paid, and the long line awaiting this magic bird's cavern, there were no overt efforts to swindle. And there were all these people who had given up hope, who were now walking around happy, healthy. None would speak of a bird. All would say, "It is not for me to reveal." On one video site, I found a reporter who was asking Uncle Jim about it all. He was standing in the middle of his theme park. He was surrounded by lush bougainvillea trees. A jasmine bush behind him was a cloud of white stars. He was smiling at the camera. "This is what I can tell you. There is such a thing as magic, if that's the word you want to use to describe anything we were never meant to understand." He stepped before a net-strewn pen. "Take this creature, the blue morpho butterfly. Yes, here at Birds of Paradise, we celebrate all winged creatures, not just birds. Now, what color are its wings?" Here the reporter, after a pause so long that it was clear that he wouldn't continue without an answer, gave a snark-tinged, obvious response. He snorted. "Hardly. What appears as blue to you and I is not pigment. Its wings are brown, but they are covered in crystal-like scales that reflect only blue light. That is what it shows us." He stepped to another enclosure and gestured grandly at the over-feathered occupant. "Why does the Lady Amherst pheasant choose to run rather than fly? It's perfectly capable of flight. Its tail might even impede running, especially in the thick underbrush that it also prefers. But yet it runs, on principle. That is why we are here. Miss..." And here the reporter gave her name, and Uncle Jim repeated it. "Yes, a fine German name. That is what we are here for, Miss P, to live out our difficult principles, as does this pheasant, no matter how they might appear, as does this butterfly. If you would like to see more, I can show you more, but you will have to leave your doubting eyes behind." The video wrapped shortly thereafter. I thought about Uncle Jim and impossible dreams. It all sounded ludicrous, but he never had a group of people say that his quackery was real before. Was it all a bunch of paid lies? Could it be? How could anyone pay for a lie anymore when someone else with a YouTube account can pay even more for the story? And all those clicks that come with it. Forget what people say. Truth sells, and it sells big, especially when there's a spectacular takedown accompanying it. And what if the detractors were lying? No, that couldn't be. They all had the same story. This stupid white bird that wouldn't even look at me was their common refrain. That was unexpected. But what wasn't unexpected was when Uncle Jim's letter finally came, in the mail, of course. It was in a gold-foiled envelope with Master Louis Pendergast as the lucky, blessed recipient. I haven't been a miner for over 20 years, yet I opened the letter feverishly. "Dearest seeker of truth and life, the time is now. Come to Birds of Paradise and take the chance to be healed of all things troubling to mind and body. Regardless, you will have the clarity of final assurance. What greater gift is there than this?" 2 sparkling covered passes were tucked inside the letter. Here is where someone would stop and ask, why would anyone believe him? Why did I? Why? And that's where I'll stop.